I give you my heart.
Hello, you're welcome to Dora's Zone, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do so right now so that you can get more videos as they roll in. Thank you very much. Okay, today we'll be talking about knowing your worth in everything you do, knowing your worth when it comes to being appreciated in life, knowing your worth when it comes to where you stand in the world, where you stand in your life, where you stand in the society, where you stand in the relationship, where you stand in the company of your friends. Know your worth generally, because I've come to understand that a lot of us do not actually know what our worth is. We just take everything that is thrown at us. We just take every rubbish that is thrown towards our direction. A lot of people do not actually know that there are certain times you have to draw the line between the good and the bad, and you have to draw your line between the good and the rubbish. You don't just take every rubbish that people throw at you, no matter how beautifully packaged it might look. You need to know your worth. Are you the kind of person that mixes with people who do not see anything good in you, who do not see anything perfect, or who do not see anything beautiful in what you do, who do not support your dreams, who do not support your visions? You explain to them what your vision is all about, and instead of them to encourage you, they laugh at you and they ask you how sure you are you're in the right path, and they ask you how sure you are that this thing is viable, and they try to discourage you. They try to demean that vision of yours. They try to put holes in that dream. They just try to make you believe that, well, are you really sure of what you're doing? Are you sure you're in the right path? Are you sure? Those questions are not born out of concern. Mind you, they're not asking you because they feel concerned that, oh, you're about to make it, or you're about to hit it. No. Or you're about to miss it. No. But they're actually asking you because they do not actually believe in that thing you want to do. They don't believe in that dream of yours. So it's a kind of a mock question. They're asking you, like, are you sure you know what you're doing? Are you sure it's going to make head? Are you sure there is sense in what you're doing? That's just how it comes out. Do you find yourself in the midst of such people, in the midst of such friends, in the midst of such relations? Are you the kind of person that moves with people who, at every given opportunity, all they do is to pick the faults in your life, to pick that shortcomings in your life, and they keep throwing this at you? And then because we're humans, naturally, you're bound to be moved, or rather you're bound to be affected when you see something that is not too good about your life being thrown at you, or when you think you have actually bypassed a certain part of your life that you didn't like. All of a sudden it's there in front of you. It's kind of replaying itself and making you feel bad, making you feel guilty, and making you feel very, very imperfect. If you are in the midst of such people that keeps bringing all this rubbish to your face, walk out. Know your worth. Push them away and move out. Life is very short. Are you the kind of person that you're in a relationship where every morning what you're supposed to hear as a good morning is abuses? Are you the kind of person in this relationship where all you do is you give and give and give and give, and you get nothing in return? You give your life, you give your time, you give your feelings, you give your heart, you give everything you can give, everything you can sow, you put it into this relationship. But instead of getting something good in return, all you get is insults, is abuses, is curses. All you get is comparing you to some other person out there who they think is making the relationship perfect, and you're not doing anything to make yours what they expect. Are you the kind of person who expects so much from your relationship, and you sow and you sow and you sow and you contribute, you donate all of you inside this relationship, and instead of a thank you, all you get is, what have you done that others haven't done? Know your worth, for Christ's sake. You were not born to be trampled upon. You were not created to be used as a dustbin. But unfortunately, a lot of us actually think, some people come into your lives and they are the shining star that have come to elevate you from that being where you have been. So you have no choice but to sit back and let them trample upon your head, and then you feel you are happy because someone perfect has actually come into your life. Know your worth. Because if you do not place a value upon yourself, no one will. That's just the truth. It's what you show to people that they take from you. It's what you call yourself that people call you. If I come out right now and say my name is Mrs. Green, of course you're going to call me Mrs. Green because that's what I've told you. I have introduced myself to you as Mrs. Green. So that's just how it is in this issue. If you do not know your worth, no one is going to identify your worth for you. You have to stand out and say, no, I am perfect. You have to stand out and say, no, this is what I am. You have to stand out and say, no, you see me, I am different from everybody. I am perfectly made. I am wonderfully created. I have these goals. I have these visions. I have these dreams to accomplish. And I wouldn't let anybody, no matter who it is, trample upon my dreams. It's as simple as that. You have to learn how to draw the line. You see, in this life, sometimes, to be very honest with you, sometimes you have to be very selfish with yourself. You have to be when I mean selfish, you have to do you first, irrespective of whose ox is God. That's how life is. You have to be selfish, because if you do not take care of yourself first, you can't take care of others. If you do not take care of your heart, you have to guard your heart perfectly. Do not let people mess you up around anyhow. Now, it's not even only in the issue of relationships that you should know your worth. In the issue of your employment, the job, where you work, know your worth. Do not let people trample upon you just because they're actually feeding you, or rather just because they're actually paying your wages. You see, in this issue of work thing, it's going to be a bit sensitive because people will be like, oh, but what if I have a boss or I have a colleague who's bullying me or who's treating me insensitively? What am I supposed to do? This is the only job I have that is actually feeding me. This is the only job I have that is supporting me. I can pay my wages, pay my rent, pay my bills, pay this, pay that, pay that. I know it's a very tough situation when you don't actually have any other means of income. And then you have to take all the shit, take all the nonsense, take all the rubbish thrown at you at this work because you have no other choice. But have you considered your mental health too? Have you considered the effects, the negative effects that this whole abuse at your workplace is contributing to your life? Have you considered how uncomfortable you feel when you get to work, how nervous you feel when you get to work? Just because you have no choice but to stick to this thing. You've got to know your worth. You really have to know where you place yourself, because if you keep letting people trample upon you, they will, because it's very convenient for them. If you let yourself, to be that footmat where everyone is going to come, dust their leg, dust their foot and walk off, they will. Because naturally, people are looking for who to bully on. People are looking for who to trample on. People are looking for who to walk over on. You know why? Because it boosts their ego. A lot of humans, a lot of us, we are looking for one thing or the other that will make us feel like the boss, that will make us feel up there. So when you deliberately bring yourself to that point where they will step on you to climb up there, then they will climb. So it's now left for you. So stand up, dust yourself and say no. Enough of being the footmat. Enough of being the dull one here. Enough of being that being where everyone throws their rubbish at. I've got to do me. I've got to take my stand. I've got to be that special person that God has created me to be. Because you know what? I'm the first and not the last. I can't be behind. I can't be under where everyone tramples upon me, where everyone steps on me to get up there. I have to know my worth. I have to be selfish. I have to do me first. And then you take your stand. And the moment you realize yourself, the moment you get up from that pit, that floor, that position where everybody has been used to trampling upon you, you know what happens? They begin to hate on you. They begin to dislike you. They begin to despise you. because they don't see you as that weak person anymore. They get very uncomfortable with you this time because they see you as, wow, what has gotten into her? What has gotten into him? Oh, she now has a stand. She now has a say. She now has a position to to clinch onto. So you've got to know your worth. It's all about you. It's all about you. Take your stand. Don't let people define your life for you. Don't let people define the meaning of living to you. You have to make that definition by yourself. Are you the kind of person in the midst of your friends, you're always the one who has, like, either you have nothing to say, or even when you say a thing, it doesn't make sense to them because they just look at you like, that's the dull one amongst us. Let's just use her to make up the numbers. You've got to push that company away and move on. You don't need people to make you feel like you're the remnants in the group. You don't need people to make you feel like you're the leftover. You don't need people to make you feel like you're just here because we need to make up the numbers. You are really not of no use to us. You don't need all that. You need to take your stand. Know your worth. If that group is not contributing anything to your life, you kick them off and move on with your life. It's all about you. You have to do you first. You have to promote yourself. You have to feed your knowledge first. You have to feed your ego first. You have to feed your confidence first. Because no one will do that except you. So do not just be counted in among as one other extra number. You have to make sure that your presence in anything, in any gathering, in any place has a meaning. Don't just be there because you have to be there. Don't just follow the crowd because people are doing that. Don't do things because people are doing it. You see, that's one thing with some human beings, with some of us. We just follow the crowd because everybody's doing it. We follow the trend because everyone is doing it. If this comes out, everybody wants to use that, so you're following. You're going along. You're just doing it. Sometimes you don't even know why you're doing it. Sometimes you don't even know why you're following this crowd, but you're just following them because you feel, well, everyone is going along that direction. Let me go. You have to know your worth. And then secondly, you have to change a certain tradition that you are used to. If you are the kind of person that you are used to being among people, or being among a company, being among a group of people, or, just being among human beings, rather, that all they do is just gather without a purpose for life, come together with nothing creative, come together with no definition of what they want to achieve in life. If you're among them, withdraw, because it's not going to do you any good. You're not just living because you want to live. You shouldn't just be surviving because you're just there. We are all in earth for a different purpose. So you don't just walk with the crowd just because everyone is doing a certain thing. You just follow, and you want to do things with them without a purpose. You should have a purpose for life. You should have a purpose for living. You should be able to say, okay, fine, maybe I haven't been doing very well before, but this time around I want to sit up. I want to achieve this. I need to achieve this goal. I need to meet up with this expectation of mine. And you are in the midst of people who are actually not even thinking towards a direction of yours. You have to cut them off. As blunt as this might sound, you have to cut them off if you really know you want to achieve that dream of yours. If you really, really know you want to achieve that dream of yours, you have to cut them off. You have to know your worth. You're not just existing. You shouldn't just exist because, for Christ's sake, like, there are people who are actually very comfortable. They are actually very comfortable with that way of life. As long as they can just afford to pay their bills, just eat, they are okay. They don't have higher dreams. They don't have any other visions. They are not even interested, like, in moving from one level to the other. They're just okay with that spot where they are. They're just fine. Well, like, is that how far you want to go in life? Don't you dream of touching people's lives? Don't you dream of living a kind of lifestyle that people would want to emulate and say, oh yes, this person actually did well in her lifetime. I would like to be like this. Don't you dream of doing that? Don't you have people who you will look up to and say, oh yeah, that's my that's my hero. He or she has done something I would like to copy from. I would like to emulate. Don't you ever see yourself in such shoes? So why would you just want to just eat and survive, sleep and just survive, like such a boring life, like there is, it's like when you're gone, there's nothing to remember you for. So in life, you've really got to know your worth. It's not too late. Even if you think, oh, I'm in my 30s, now I'm in my 40s, I'm even in my 50s, and all through my past lifetime, I have nothing that I can say I have achieved, or I can't really say, oh, there's something special I have done, because I have not been given the time or the opportunity to do it, or because I haven't been encouraged to do it. It is not too late. Right from this moment, you should be able to draw the line between what you want and what you do not want. The power of survival is in your hands. It is what you draft out for your life that you should follow. You should follow that pattern, because nobody's going to do it for you. Everybody is busy drafting out their own lifestyle. Nobody's going to leave his or her own and come and work with you and say, okay, you know what, you have not been able to do this or do that, so right now let me help you work out how your life should be. No. Everybody is selfish with their own lifestyle. So it's time for you right now to start looking into your own lifestyle. Be selfish. The things that are not working or haven't been working in the past, sit down and start to draft out how you like your life from now henceforth to be. Know your worth. Place a tag, an expensive tag on your life. An expensive tag. Place a high value on your life. Don't put yourself on, it's like when you walk into the supermarket now. A lot of these very cheap items, like the branded items, are the ones you see at the bottom. The bottom shelves, the very bottom where we get the shop branded products. And then you see the kind of the more expensive ones on the top shelves. Don't put yourself right down there. Place a very expensive tag on yourself and put it up there. Anybody who can afford to have you will come for you, no matter how highly placed you have put yourself. If they cannot afford to have you, they should leave you alone. You don't need such people in your life, do you? So anyone who could reach up to that high shelf where you have placed yourself, those are the people you should mingle with. So that's it for today. I've just come to pass this message that you should know exactly what you want in life, because nobody is going to point that out for you but you. You have to put things right for yourself. You have to make things good for yourself. You have to make it, as true as possible, as plain as possible, to fashion out the kind of life you want. Don't just live by everyone's standard, and do not live by the world's standard, but create a standard for yourself and walk through it. So thank you very much for watching this edition one more time. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please kindly subscribe to my channel, and so that when I have more videos to bring out, you could be the first to watch it. Thank you very much for having time to watch this great edition of my video. Thanks very much. God bless.